It's always a beautiful day for baseball, and we've got a nice 6-game slate tonight for Monday, April 19th. I'm going to use DraftKings pricing and bring you JT's Bang Bang plays. Let's start with the pitching. Up top, you've got a couple of decisions to make. Joe Musgrove has been nothing short of phenomenal. Threw a no-hitter in his start before last, came back down to earth just a little bit, has a fantastic matchup at home against the Milwaukee Brewers, but there's another guy that I like in the top range, and that's Dustin May. He's 9.7K on DraftKings. Dustin May has electric stuff. He's got a 32% strikeout rate and a 14% swinging strike rate. A little bit unlucky to start the year. A 500 batted balls in play against in his last start. You may have noticed the Dodgers played an intense series against division rival San Diego this weekend in an extra innings game on Friday, and the games on Saturday and Sunday. Dave Roberts had to go to his bullpen quite frequently, and those arms are a little bit depleted, so I expect them to need a little bit of length with Dustin May tonight in Seattle. Seattle, 26% strikeout rate, and I expect Dustin May at very low ownership on these sites tonight to get back on track and get the Dodgers in the win column once again. For a value pitcher, I'm going to stay in the Los Angeles market and go back down south to Southern California. The Los Angeles Angels take on the Texas Rangers. Dylan Bundy is just 7.7K on DraftKings tonight. He has a 29% strikeout rate and a 13% swinging strike rate. The Texas Rangers come into town. It is a park upgrade for the Rangers. They do have some lefties with a little bit of power, but they also strike out 30% of the time. And Dylan Bundy is just too cheap at that price for his talent and for this matchup. Moving on to the bats. My favorite stacks of the night in Philadelphia. The San Francisco Giants are going up against Chase Anderson and a Philly bullpen that looked like it might be better the first week of the season, but they have certainly regressed, as we saw in their game against the Cardinals on Saturday. Chase Anderson takes the mound for Philadelphia. He's been very lucky to start the season, and he's been giving up 2 home runs per 9 innings and a 39% fly ball rate. My favorite plays here tonight: Brandon Belt, 3.4K on DraftKings, a 56% fly ball rate over his last 5 games, and you can never make a Giants stack without Mike Yastrzemski. What an awesome baseball player he is. I expect them to take advantage of a friendly Citizens Bank ballpark and Chase Anderson this evening. My other stack, I'm going to go right back to the Los Angeles Angels against Kohei Arihara, who had maybe the best start of his young career. His last time out against the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa, 5 2/3 innings and 5 strikeouts and the win. I love to attack pitchers coming off of those types of performances. It's going to be warm in Southern California tonight. The wind is going to be blowing out, and I expect that Shohei Ohtani and Jared Walsh are going to take advantage of young Kohei Arihara and this Texas Rangers bullpen. You obviously are going to include Mike Trout in that stack, but I think that gives you a good base for your pitchers, for your hitters tonight. And I've got one more, a little bit sneaky, that I don't think anybody is going to play. In fact, I think the opposing pitcher is going to be extremely popular. It's going to be cold in Kansas City tonight. The wind is going to be blowing in, but guess what? Danny Duffy has been perhaps the luckiest pitcher in Major League Baseball to start the year. A .72 ERA. His expected ERA is 4.72. He stranded 100% of base runners that have gotten on. In his last start, he gave up 8 hits. Got lucky to get out of that without any major damage. But everybody talks about the Tampa Bay Rays strikeout rate against left-handed pitchers. Yes, 29%. They also have a 126 weighted runs creation plus rating, and tonight I think Danny Duffy's luck is going to run out. The weather is not going to matter here. My favorite is to do a little mini stack here. Manuel Margot is my number 1 guy, 2.9K on DraftKings. He should be hitting in the 5 hole. Yandy Diaz, 3.5K leading off. and round that out with Mike Brousseau at 3.6K. A stack that nobody's going to have because it looks like 40% of people are going to actually roster Danny Duffy tonight. That's it for Monday, April 19th, JT's Bang Bang Plays. Get over to runpuresports.com and be like Blind Bandit 24. Took down the 100K top prize for the MLB Gyro Ball last night. He was in Discord. We were rooting him on, and he said, hey guys, I got to get out of here because I got to call my mom. If that isn't special, I don't know what is. He's on his way to Disney World, where true champions go to celebrate their takedowns. Let's get it tonight. Go ahead. Good luck and run pure.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports Hardwood show for some Monday night NBA action. We have 9 games, and it's a beast of a slate. We have a lot of injury news that we already got, a lot that we're waiting on, and then obviously with NBA this day and age, some could pop up out of nowhere. So I'm sure we're going to get a little bit of everything. I'm joined by Title. Our boy Big T apparently is stuck in the mountains. Don't know. I have no more details on that, but not very surprising to me. If Big T actually ventured out and went like hiking or something, not shocking at all that he couldn't get his ass out of there. But me and Title are here. We'll do our best. We'll break it down. How's your weekend? What's going on?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Big T stuck in the mountains. Hopefully he finds his way. I heard he's going to try and make the premium show for later, Run Pure Sports. So if you're not a subscriber, make sure you check it out. Him, JSU, Holden. If he finds his way back, he'll be talking some hoops, talking some baseball, but who knows? Maybe he's stuck out there for good. But yeah, I mean, we got a nice 9-game slate, a ton of news, like you said. So you and I got it covered. The slate doesn't end at 7 Eastern, like we talk about a lot with NBA. You and I are on the cast chart today. I made sure to put a little note on the bottom saying, make sure to check throughout the night because your lineups are going to probably look different almost every 20 minutes. It's just one of those nights, tons of injury news that are going to change everything. So it's going to be a beast, but this is where we have an edge. A lot of late news. You got to adapt. We'll be in Discord breaking it down, core plays, cast chart, and everything. So it's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, you know it's just going to be one of those full, just wild slates. I mean, Tyler Hero was ruled out a couple hours ago. Then they moved him to questionable out of nowhere. Have Jimmy Butler listed as question. I mean, so that the Miami situation seems like a cluster. You know what? The one spot though, right out of the gate that we do have some decent clarity on is this Pistons situation. I mean, all their guys are out again. We saw the same situation on Friday night. So we'll talk about that one along with some other spots. But before we get into the games, as always, do us a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to continue to bring you guys these videos, which we think are definitely helpful. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Just wanted to talk about the weekend overall that we had here at RPS, and it was one of the better ones. Some really dominant performances from our providers along with our members as well. So this is the segment we do and kind of shout out our members that win. If you want to be a part of this segment and you have a nice GPP win, tag us at Run Pure Sports. Yes, our members win, but hey, we consider even if you're not a member, our YouTube family is our family. We love coming on here talking with everyone. So you can tag Run Pure Sports on Twitter if you have a nice victory, and we'll shout you out in this segment. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the NASCAR. So our boy Coop heads up the NASCAR product, and he was all over it, not only with the DFS picks, but they had a lot of success live betting, the live betting show with the keg. I know Coop has been hopping on there basically every week, and they break it down, find some good live betting opportunities throughout the race. And that was the case this week. A lot of guys hit I don't even know who won. I didn't really follow NASCAR. Did you see who won the event?
Alex Bowman, I believe.
Bowman. Yeah, so Bowman won, and they're all over it throughout the race. If you watch that show, definitely it was a profitable experience. But in terms of DFS, we had like 3 or 4 people. I know Big T was part of it. Our boy Mikey, who does NASCAR content, and then our member Alter Bridge, all kind of chopped this top prize for 8,100 in the main GPP over there on DraftKings. Was like the NASCAR 350K Engineer, I believe it was. They all split first place for $8,100. Alter Bridge has been crushing. He top of the leaderboard in various sports. He was the one that had the big win a couple weeks ago where he had like first, second, third, fifth, sixth. So this guy's absolutely dominating. He's been a member over there for a while. So just want to give Alter Bridge a shout out. Now is where it gets a little bit interesting. MLB specifically yesterday was a big day all around. And a lot of that has to do with Draft Cheat and the content that he offered up yesterday, just all over it. Kyle Gibson, Aaron Nola pairing at pitcher, absolutely dominated the slate. So Draft Cheat, our own Draft Cheat, took down $41,000 in MLB yesterday. Just a very dominant performance from him. And if you follow Draft Cheat, which I'm sure most of you do, he went to Twitter and started chirping and made some solid waves yesterday in the DFS Twitter. And you know, it was one of those days where it was provided a lot of entertainment. Title. I'm not sure if you saw all of it, but you know, I kind of sat back, watched, and enjoyed the ride. We got a little vintage DC. We haven't seen DC out in the streets like that in a while, and it was kind of fun to see yesterday, huh?
Yeah, that was quite entertaining. The old DC on Twitter, you gotta love it. Maybe it was because Tommy G made his appearance back too, and the buddies had to go and reenact and team up. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. DC absolutely crushed it. So many members. I think saw a picture. Top 6, 4 of the 6 were RPS members. First, tied for second. It was just crazy. His Kyle Gibson call. Him and I mean, it's fun. Maybe I got to take some credit. I think I got DC riled up a little bit. Took a little money from him a couple days. Hey, he had to jump in and show everyone what's up. He crushes baseball, so it was really good to see.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal performance from him yesterday, along with a lot of other members. One member had a $6,500 win. Cody Charlie. He took down, let's see, where was his? He took down $5K in the MLB Rally Cup. That was first place in that event. Looks like it was the $8 tournament on there, or $24, or I think it was $8 tournament. He took down first place, which is very impressive. That's a large field GPP. And then came the big win. Our boy Blind Bandit 24 took down the $100,000 top prize with that same pairing, basically the Nola Gibson pairing. And it looks like he had some Royals mixed in there. Maybe not a stack. It doesn't even look like it was a stack. It looks
homers.
Like huh?
Yeah, he got a lot of one-off homers, mini stacks. He found the right bats.
Yeah, I found the right combination. So yeah, he had a couple Royals in there, then Moran, Jose Ramirez. Yeah, so it looks like a bunch of one-offs, which is even more impressive because it's tough to do nowadays, not have a stack win. So congratulations to our boy Blind Bandit. In honor of the big weekend that we had in MLB, DC, and everything going on, we brought back the Heater promo. It's a little bit different. It's just RPS Heater 25. That gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. Just has to be a monthly package. So any monthly package that we offer on the site, plug in RPS Heater 25, you'll get 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. A lot of members winning over there in multiple sports across the board. So head on over now. And now's the time to check it out because you got the two main sports going. You got NBA going, you got MLB going. And, you know, NBA right now, you know, Title and I have mostly been focusing on NBA opposed to MLB. And it is an absolute grind. I mean, you have to have some sort of content provider for NBA right now. We have that Discord channel, tons of news. Everyone's in there chatting it up, breaking it down. Basically, I say 24 hours. If you want to go in there and talk sports, there's going to be somebody in there to talk with you. Very interactive chat room, and people staking each other too. Hey, you know, if someone has a good night, they'll go ahead and stake people in some of these bigger tournaments on DraftKings. So head on over to Run Pure Sports. Use that promo code RPS Heater 25 for 25% off your first payment over there. It's got to be a monthly package. That's the only stipulation. Title, anything before we go ahead and hop into this hell of an NBA slate?
Yeah, I mean, we only pinpointed a couple of the winners, but there were so many more winners too in multiple sports. A couple people or MMA, there was a couple very good wins too. NASCAR, a ton of them. MLB, they just wouldn't stop. So congrats to all the winners. And if you didn't win that day, DFS is a grind. I mean, it's hard to win every day. You can't win every day. It's impossible. So stick with the process, keep learning, and then your name will be up there one of these days. But yeah, going to this NBA slate, only one game locks at, I'll just give a very brief slate overview before going to this.
Yeah.
One game locks at 7 p.m. Eastern, but like you said earlier, that one game has the Pistons, and the Pistons are without half their roster. And this is where a ton of the value is. So it's not like we can just say locks at 7:30 and skip over this whole first game. You just can't do it today. So we'll go game by game. We'll break down the injuries, this, that, and all that, or whatever. But Pistons you're going to need. You can't just backload like some days.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great segue just into that first game. The Cavs, Pistons, it's 213 total. Cleveland's favored by 3. And for DFS purposes, tonight, you can ignore the Cavs. I mean, you don't have to play any of these Cavs. I think they're all, the price is now up on Kevin Love. He's starting to see 30 minutes. You don't have to go there. We, like you said, we kind of talk about some days where there's a standalone early game, which we have the standalone early game here, 7 p.m. Eastern, the only one that starts this time. A lot of times we'll try to find a way to just fade it and buy another 30 minutes essentially of waiting for news. That cannot be done today because we have this Pistons situation where there's no Mason Plumlee, no Dennis Smith Jr., no Corey Joseph, no Wayne Ellington, no Sekou, no Jeremy Grant, and no Rodney McGruder. And we saw basically the same situation on Friday night. And all these guys played, 32, 33, 34, 35 minutes. Going to be the same situation tonight. So you have Killian Hayes. I know I'll use DraftKings prices for now. Killian Hayes at 3.7K. Frank Jackson, who's actually looked really good. He played 26 minutes. He's a scorer. I mean, he's got to just go out there and get you buckets. Josh Jackson, 5.1K. Sadiq Bey at 5.3K. Isaiah Stewart, 5.2. Saban Lee is another guy. He, got there last time basically by way of steals and blocks, but actually his minutes were kind of disappointing with 15 minutes. I figured he would have played a little bit more in that game, but I guess to me, it's really important who starts here. And I think you're going to see Hayes, you're going to see Josh Jackson, you're going to see Bey, you're going to see Stewart. Who gets the last spot? Is it Diallo? Is it Frank Jackson? Is it Saban Lee? I want the guy that starts because it seems like the minutes here have really been going to the starters in these situations. All these guys are in play. You're going to want at least a couple Pistons in your lineups in cash games, probably 2 or 3. To me, like, this is a stable situation. We have a lot of uncertainty throughout the rest of the slate. The Heat situation, I mean, they listed Hero out. Now they're saying he's questionable. Bam's going to be out. Who knows? To me, I like locking in some of these guys right out of the gate. Don't really have to worry about sweating the rest of the news throughout the slate and moving on. Kind of go through and just break down this Pistons situation for me and how you plan on handling it.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you that you can't avoid this game. And the good thing about this is, like, these are all the value plays. There's so many 3K, 4K guys that we're looking for that are going to give us money to spend for the Westbrooks, the Jokic's, or like all the other studs. So I'm fine, or I like locking in this value. I'll go on DraftKings first and then touch on FanDuel since there's a couple differences. Killian Hayes and Frank Jackson are my 2 favorites. I agree with you. Like whoever gets the start, I definitely prefer. I'm expecting similar to the starting lineup or similar to the last starting lineup. Maybe Diallo does slide in today. That's the one guy that did miss last game that is expected to play today. But yeah, Frank Jackson, 3.2K. Killian Hayes, 3.7K. Saban Lee, 3.5K. I love all those guys. I rank them in that order. The problem is they're all point guard eligible. Frank Jackson's the one that has shooting guard eligible too, which is nice. If you play all of them, then you can't maybe get the Westbrooks and some of the other good guards too. So if I had to leave one out, it's Saban Lee, assuming he doesn't start, like he's not expected to. Josh Jackson, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey. Those are my next 3 favorites. And I like how Isaiah Stewart's only center eligible, but Jackson's power forward, Sadiq Bey's small forward. So you get different position eligibilities, which is nice on DraftKings. I like all these guys. I mean, I'm going to probably play at least 4 Pistons in my lineup, and you can even make a case for 5 in cash games they're without half their roster and like their best players. They need, whether it's a blowout, whether it's not, these guys are getting minutes for cheap. So give me all those guys. I rank them: Frank Jackson, Killian Hayes, Josh Jackson, Saban Lee, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey on DraftKings. And they're all very good plays. On FanDuel, I like Diallo a lot more than on DraftKings. He's min price on FanDuel at 3.5K, where he's 4.2K on DraftKings. 3.5K is just way too cheap. He's actually talented. I want him to start. Even if he doesn't start, though, he's fine on this slate. And then you can make a case in tournaments if you want to go a different Piston to go Jahlil Okafor. He's min price. He's only 3K. He only played 7 minutes last game, 16 minutes the game before, but they have injuries to their front court. I expect him. He can get up to 20 minutes today, and 3K, 20 minutes. No one's going to play him. If he gets hot too, we've seen him crush in the past getting 20 minutes. He has upside. He's a good basketball player. So he's the one in tournaments that I think it's overlooked that will differentiate yourself a little bit. Have to play these Pistons though, and don't play any Cavs.
Yeah, there's about 7 guys, 8 guys in play here for the Pistons. You have some very stable cash game / even GPP type plays, and then you have some guys that are more GPP type plays. But on the Cav side, there's just no need to go here today. I mean, you're going to essentially be spending up if you're playing a Cav. I mean, Garland 7K, Sexton 7.4, Love 6.5, Jared Allen 7.5. Like you're paying a premium for these guys. You're not really getting a price discount. Don't think there's any reason to go ahead and play any Cavs tonight. So
I see a couple people. Oh, I just want to. There's a couple people in chat like, how many are too many Pistons? Because I said 4. I was gonna play maybe in cash games. I don't worry about how many. There's been slates where I play the whole starting lineup. I'll play all 5. In tournaments, minimum I'm gonna play 3 Pistons today. They're just in that good of a spot. Unless some crazy news changes that changes the slate, I'm fine locking myself into 3 Pistons minimum. In tournaments, you don't want 5 because the odds of them all getting there, they eat into each other. 4 in tournaments is the max I would do. 2 through 4 though. I'm not fading Pistons today. It's too good of a spot, but don't play 5 in tournaments.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with you. I'd say, probably 3 is optimal and you potentially 4, but I mean, 4 of these guys got there. 5 of them got there on Friday night. So, I mean, it is possible.
3-2, 3-7, 3-5. Like you get 16 at 3-2. Yeah, it's not great, but that's not killing your lineup.
Nope. So it's a really good spot. And, we obviously spent a lot of time on this game. This is probably the game we're going to talk about more so than any other game on the slate. Very important spot right out of the gate, 7 p.m. Eastern. If we get the starting lineup throughout the show, we'll go ahead and circle back and just see if anything changes. But all these guys in really good spots, stable plays tonight. Next game, Warriors 76ers, 223.5 total. Philadelphia is favored by 9, and this one is a complicated situation, and it's going to be very hard to break down from a fantasy perspective as it stands right now. On the Warriors side, Steph Curry is questionable, and that is very important. Kelly Oubre is also questionable. Very important news that we need. The 9-point spread makes me believe that Steph's going to sit out tonight. We'll see. I mean, this is 7:30 Eastern game. We'll probably get it before lineups lock. But, even if Steph is out, I don't know how much exposure I'm going to have to the Warriors because there's more uncertainty with this Warriors roster versus what we have in the Pistons. Like, I know the guys on the Pistons that I want. Even if Steph's out, you look at the Warriors guys, I'm not 100% sure who I still want. Maybe it's Lee. Maybe it's Poole. Do I want to spend up on Draymond? Do I want to spend up on Wiggins? I don't know. It's not a good spot really against the 76ers. On the 76ers side, we have Ben Simmons questionable, Dwight Howard questionable, Tobias Harris questionable, Seth Curry questionable. Who knows who's going to play? I mean, to me, all those guys seem legitimate, like 50-50. Ben Simmons is the guy that was like added late. So maybe he does sit. If all those guys are out, Embiid's going to get a big boost, and he's in that conversation, I think, with Westbrook and Jokic. But if all those guys are out on the 76ers side and then Steph Curry's out on the Warriors side, probably a blowout still. I mean, I'd assume the 76ers beat their ass. I don't know. It's a very tough situation to analyze. We're going to need more news from a fantasy perspective. Any additional thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. It's so hard. Kelly Oubre is also questionable. So if Oubre and Steph are out, then yeah, Poole, Damian Lee, Kent Bazemore, those guys would all be fine plays. But Poole's 4,500, Bazemore's 4,600. We're getting over 1,000 price decrease with the Pistons guys that we talked about. It's going to be interesting to see what news we get. I mean, because they're supposed to be out 30 minutes before game time. These games are at 7:30. Hoping we get these around 6:45 Eastern, 6:30 Eastern, stuff like that. We'll be off the show. That's another reason you have like today's one of the days you need to watch Crunch Time. You need to watch JSU and them up to lock. You need to be in Discord. You need to be in core plays. It's just too hard to break down this game. I mean, there's so many unknowns. If Simmons, Tobias is out, Joel Embiid is going to be a great play. No one on this Warriors team can stop him. But then the blowout risk, we've seen them not want to bring in Joel Embiid if they're up 30 in the fourth quarter. And that could very well be the case if there's no Steph in them. So I don't know how much I can break down this game with all this uncertainty. There's like 6 very good pieces in this game that are questionable.
Yep. And I mean, there's a chance we get this relatively soon. And like you said, JSU, maybe you get Big T too on the Up to Lock show. Who the hell knows? If he finds his way out of the mountains, maybe
That's the
he'll
plan, I think. Yeah,
it sounds like Big T might be on the Up to Lock show. So you got to head on over to runpuresports.com. Check those guys out. You never know. Like if Big T makes his way out, you get a bonus Big T on the Up to Lock. All right. Yeah, this game, like I said, it's just very difficult at this point. If anything major breaks, we'll circle back and talk about it. Bulls, Celtics, 214.5. Boston favored by 6.5 in this game. Another game with news that we're waiting on. Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, both questionable. Those guys both were to miss. It's would be a pretty nice boost to I think Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. The problem is you're paying a premium for those guys, and the way this slate is shaping up, it's going to be a stars and scrubs sort of slate. You're going to play a bunch of cheap guys and probably some studs. So, do you really want to pay a premium for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? For me, that answer is probably not. I mean, I suppose I could play Brown. He's 8.4K on DK. Jason Tatum's up to 10K. Tatum's disappointed me and everyone in the DFS community a lot this season. Thankfully, I haven't played him a bunch, so it's worked out quite well. I don't know if I'll be going here regardless of the Kemba Marcus Smart news. On the Bulls side, obviously no Zach LaVine. Should be a big boost, but really, you look at it, they still have a lot of bodies. The one guy I would probably consider Kobe White, 33 minutes, 32 minutes. He had a 45 fantasy point game, then bounced back with a 25 fantasy point game. He's a guy, if I land on him, I'd probably be fine playing him, but it's not the greatest matchup here for the Bulls either. So for me, mostly this game is going to be a fade. Maybe Jaylen Brown if Kemba and Marcus Smart are out, and then Kobe White as a last piece. And then I'll throw Daniel Tyson there too. He's in the starting lineup now. He's only 4K, but I think I'd prefer those Pistons guys over him as a value. Talk to me here about this Bulls Celtics game.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty much a stay away outside of Kobe White for me. And I like Kobe White a lot more on FanDuel than DraftKings. He's 4,700. You have to play 2 point guards, where he's 5,400 on DraftKings. I do like the Kobe White in tournaments on DraftKings, but we talk about how loaded guard is with the Pistons and how many point guard only they have. And there's also Westbrook. So he's going to definitely be lower owned, even though he's grading out as a fine play. That's what makes him just tourneys. Kobe White, FanDuel, he's definitely in play in all formats with that price. Other than that, though, like, yeah, Daniel Theis is fine, but he's only center eligible. And I like guys like Stewart more. There's Jokic, Embiid. Just one of those position eligibility that it kind of takes me off the play. And then as far as the Celtics, like I don't think you need Jaylen Brown and Tatum on this slate. There's so many other stars. It's a pretty easy stay away, I think. Make it an 8-game slate outside of Kobe White.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be other games that we cross off too. I mean, these are sort of slate. We always talk about it. You're going to want to just eliminate some spots, make it easier on yourself. You don't need to go through and consider every game, every play. Cross off some of these games, hope it's a little bit dirty and no one absolutely goes off. I think that's definitely a good approach tonight. As our producer says here, hit the like button, help the wood grow. It's always good to get that wood growing. So by hitting the like button, helps the wood grow. Please do that. We got about 500 watching, 150 likes. That's kind of lagging behind a little bit. So please do us a favor. and hit that like button. Next game.
Chat's letting us know it's Daniel Thief's revenge game. Yeah, we know it's Daniel Thief's revenge game, but what do you expect him to pull out 25 shots like Zach LaVine or something? That's not just the type of player he is. He's a fine price and a fine play. It's just, this is one of the slates that's so loaded, you have to leave out good plays.
And I like revenge bots in NBA, don't get me wrong, but more so when guys are controlling their own destiny. By that, I mean ball handlers, guys that are going to hold the ball a lot. Tice is not a guy that the offense has run through. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to have some more energy. I'm sure he'll grab a few more extra rebounds and maybe an extra block and steal. Play it by him. I think 4K is a fine price tag. I mean, I think he's in play at 4K. I'm not saying he's not. I just prefer the other cheapies on the slate over him. But I get it. The revenge should be strong for him tonight. Suns, Bucks, 233.5 total. Milwaukee favored by 3. And, you look at this total and you look at the spread, and these are typically the games that we like to target for DFS purposes. Big total, close spread. Not the case here, this game here for me. I mean, the Suns team, me, you, Big T, whoever else has been on the show, for the most part, we've been avoiding the Suns, and it's worked out quite well. They have guys off the bench that are contributing. Cameron Payne, Cam Johnson. Cameron Payne's been playing very well, and it's taken away from Chris Paul a little bit. I mean, you look at his minutes, 22, 18, played 26 last game. Just a tough team for fantasy purposes. We have a full slate here. I won't be playing any Suns. On the Bucks side, I mean, this is a game where, I think we could see Giannis finally start to play a little more minutes, but really they really 24 minutes, 29 minutes. I think it's clear with the Bucks, they're not going to push their main guys. I think they're kind of in coast mode. Maybe this matchup with the Suns, another premier team in the NBA, they let their guys go a little bit longer. But for me, I'm going to be very cautious with Giannis and the Bucks moving forward. And plus, they're basically at full strength tonight. We have all these games with a ton of injury news. I have 2 teams here that are, for the most part, at full strength. I'm going to be fading this game, to be honest with you. Does anything stand out to you?
No, I mean, when you get to the end of the year, like now with NBA, I more so don't look at the totals and I look at the injuries. And yeah, this is a nice total, but 2 fully healthy teams pretty much at this point of the year, just can't make a case for anyone. I want to do Giannis, but it's not the same Giannis. Like he comes, I watch, I mean, I love the Bucks, obviously. He comes out with like 5:50 left or whatever in the first quarter. Usually he used to come back in with like 3 minutes left in the first, dominate that run, start the second. Now, I mean, there's some games where he just doesn't come back in till the second quarter and loses out an extra 3 minutes there, 3 minutes there. You can obviously tell Budenholzer doesn't want to push him before the playoffs. So I can't play him, even though he would be the one I would want to. Other than that, yeah, I mean, if you need one person, last piece, Mikal Bridges on FanDuel, just because small forward's so bad. But I assume that news is going to break that'll open someone up. So pretty easy fade.
Yep. And that's a good point you bring up. I mean, it's not at this point in the season, it's not necessarily the totals, where in the early on in the season, we do like to hit up the big totals. In the middle of the season, we like to hit the big totals. It's all about the injury news. And this, I mean, we have 2 basically fully healthy teams. So not much appeal in this game. We still also have that bets promo going. If you guys want to sample out the bets side of our website, Get Bets is the promo code. If you sign up for a monthly package that includes DFS and bets, the bets portion will be free for the first month. So that promo code is Get Bets. The bets guys have been doing phenomenally well. I've been tailing a lot of their picks. Things have been going well on that side. So it's a good time to get in there and check that out. Also, we have the podcast Draft Cheat does every morning. Draft Cheat's a busy guy, man. He's working very hard, producing a lot of content. He has that podcast going out every morning. It's a first look podcast. He brings on a guest every day. They give you the first look at that MLB slate. If you're hitting the gym in the morning, you're at the office, on your way to work, whatever it may be. It's a good podcast to tune into and kind of get your mind on the right path for the slate. So check that out. Apple, Google Play, wherever else you get your podcast. Can look us up, Run Pure Sports, and subscribe to that feed. Next game, Rockets, Heat, 216.5 total. Miami favored by 6.5. And the important part of this game is the injury news for the Heat. So they ruled out Bam. They have Jimmy Butler's questionable. They have Iguodala questionable. Hero was ruled out. They would have had him brought him back to questionable. Goran Dragic, also questionable. It's tough. I mean, a tough situation to figure out because, this situation could end up being just as good as the Pistons situation that we talked about in game one. But if we don't have this news at 7 p.m. Eastern, are you willing to sacrifice some of those Pistons values to potentially wait on this Heat news where the news might not break your way? It's a very interesting dynamic on the slate. It really is. But the one thing I do know, Bam is out. And, in these situations in the past, it would be Kelly O. Kelly O's the guy. Well, Kelly O's now gone. He's actually on the opposing team. Dwayne Dedmon comes in at 3K, and he's going to be forced to. He hasn't played a lot of minutes. Has he played at all? He's only played a couple games ago. Played 6 minutes. He's going to have to play tonight. They just don't have centers available, so he'll likely start and should be in for a pretty decent role at 3K. But outside of that, it's going to be hard. Kendrick Nunn, I think, is probably in play either way. I mean, he's 4.3K. I think he'd be strong. But we're going to have to wait on this news. I mean, all these guys are listed as questionable. I mean, if Jimmy Butler sits, I mean, Nunn becomes a phenomenal play. Are we going to know that? Maybe. I mean, this game starts an hour after lock. Maybe we're fortunate enough to get it. But as it stands now, very hard to pinpoint the strong plays on the Heat. On the Rockets side, John Wall's playing tonight. And when John Wall's playing and Christian Wood's playing and these other guys, it's enough for me to be off of them in a really bad matchup as it is. It's not a good spot here for them against the Heat. Be off the Rockets. Dedmon, Nunn are good plays as it stands now. Could turn into elite plays along with some of these other guys. We're going to have to wait and see. Kind of break down this one for me, specifically the Rockets side.
So Dedmon did play 15 minutes yesterday. He was 10. He went 10 and 10. So that's a good score, 20 points. I expect more minutes today. Let me know if I saw something wrong, but I see 15 minutes, 10 and 10. And I'm expecting about 25 minutes today at 3K. It's hard to avoid that price with Bam out. Could get Butler out, other people. So love Dwayne Dedmon on DraftKings. You can't play him on FanDuel though.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what the hell I was looking at.
Oh, that's all right. We messed up. I mean, I thought Depot was still on the Rockets that one day. It can't get worse than that. But hey, that's why we're here helping each other. But 15 minutes and 10 and 10. That's good. That's good news for today's matchup. He feels a lot more safe. Very good play at center. And that's why we talk about the Daniel Theis, all the other centers. There's Isaiah Stewart, Jokic, Embiid. Center's loaded. It's probably a 2-center night. But point guard's also loaded. Kendrick Nunn, Goran Dragic. They're grading out as very good plays right now anyway. And they could even become elite if Jimmy Butler is ruled out. I mean, and Goran Dragic's also questionable. So if Dragic and Hero and Jimmy Butler miss, you want Kendrick Nunn in your lineup. Are you going to have room for it though? Like you said, you need to go in today's slate, regardless, cash games, tournaments, whatever, and you have to have a plan. You either fade the first game. There's so much news. You hope it breaks. You play a couple pieces and then you figure it out. I'm going to just play it. And if I like the Pistons, which I do like, if they fit my lineup, I'm going to play the Pistons since we do know that news. I think it sounds like you're pretty much on the same side. This game, though, could turn into one of the best games as well on the Heat side if the news cracks the right way. I don't have a lean on it. If Jimmy Butler plays, though, like I like Jimmy Butler a lot. I like him a ton on FanDuel. It's 9,300. Small forward isn't very good. You have to play two of them. And this is a good matchup, too. That's the thing. Like the Rockets don't play defense. They aren't good. The Heat should have their way on the offensive end. I'm going to stick with Dwayne Dedmon is my favorite play. Kendrick Nunn and Dragic. If Dragic's in, I like him. I like Kendrick Nunn a lot with the 500 price decrease. I prefer him over Dragic, and we know he's going to play. And then Jimmy Butler, if he plays, I like him on DraftKings still at 9,600. He has a ton of upside in this matchup without Bam. Don't need anyone on the Houston side.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Nunn. I think he's a really strong play. I want to play him, but man, that point guard position specifically,
Insane.
It's just loaded, absolutely loaded up with options. So it makes it difficult and very dynamic. That's what makes the slate so dynamic and interchanging. This game's an hour after live. I mean, there's a chance before 7 p.m. Eastern we get this news on all these guys. And that's my favorite. Like when you got 10 minutes to go and this news breaks and you got to figure it out. I mean, we're probably going to end up with one of those slates today because we have all that 76ers news. We have the Steph Curry stuff. It's going to be exciting, but it's hard to stay composed in those situations in DFS NBA when all this news breaks. And It's a big boy slate. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe we get some of it before lock. All right, next game. We have the Spurs. We have the Pacers. 230 total. Spurs favored by 1.5 in this game. We have some news here. Sabonis questionable. Jeremy Lamb questionable. Miles Turner questionable. Doug McDermott also questionable for the Pacers tonight. And on the Pacers side, if those guys are all out, Brogdon becomes a much more solid play. LeVert becomes a solid play, but they're kind of priced appropriately, especially on DraftKings. 7.6, 7.5 makes it a little more tough to, especially if you have to save a spot for them. I'm probably just going to pass on this injury news and hope those guys play and I don't have to worry about it. On the Spurs side, we've been kind of all on the same page when it comes to the Spurs. I mean, just not a great team for DFS purposes. The only guy I'll make a case for is DeRozan. He is 8K on DK, small forward, relatively weak, and he's playing a lot of minutes. I mean, 37 minutes. As long as they're not on a back-to-back, which is not the case tonight, I'm good potentially playing a little DeMar DeRozan. But that's probably going to be about it for me in this game. Anything else standing out to you?
Another game with a ton of injury news. I mean, Sabonis, Miles Turner, Jeremy Lamb, and Doug McDermott. Those are 4 guys that are very good in the rotation that have a big role. So it's a 8:00 Eastern game, same time as this Heat game. We have no clue when teams are going to file in the news. If all these guys are out, then yeah, the Pacers become awesome plays. TJ McConnell, Brogdon, Goga would become a very good center play too. They would just need whoever's eligible to play, whoever's healthy is going to get a ton of minutes. If 3 of the 4 are in though, I don't have much interest in this Pacers spot with so many other good pieces on this slate. So all depends on the news. I'm definitely not going to wait for this game. Like we were talking about by now, I think you guys know I like the Pistons, but if the news breaks your way and you have time, I'll definitely look at some of the secondary pieces. Too hard to break down right now with so many unknowns. And on the Spurs side, I absolutely agree with you. DeMar DeRozan's the only one I really have interest in. 7.9 on FanDuel at shooting guard, which isn't the best. 8K on DraftKings. I don't love it as much since you can play people at dual eligibility spots, but he'll probably be low owned. The Spurs are playing him a lot of minutes. He's bounced back, so I'm fine with DeRozan on DraftKings, better on FanDuel.
Yep, absolutely. Before 3 more games before we move on, just want to remind you guys that we have that partnership going with SuperDraft. You head on over to SuperDraft, use that promo code RUNPURE. You get a deposit match up to $100. We have a core plays section in the core plays piece of our website where I know AP, Bobby Gomes, a couple other contributors are giving core plays there for SuperDraft. Been doing pretty well. So head on over to SuperDraft, use that promo code RUNPURE for a deposit match up to $100.
Just put a Discord thing too. Own SuperDraft for Discord questions as well. So make sure to check that out if you're playing over there.
Yep. We have a channel in the Discord dedicated to SuperDraft. So definitely check that out. Next game, Thunder Wizards, 232.5 total. Washington favored by, man, I never thought I'd see the day the Wizards favored by 12.5 points. 12.5. The Thunder are on a back-to-back, and they're without Lou Dort. On the Wizards side, they are going to be without Rui Hachimura, which, really doesn't do all that much, to be honest with you. I mean, it's still the same guys for the Wizards that we're going to play. It's Russell Westbrook. It's Bradley Beal. I think they're both phenomenal plays today, even with the big spread here of 12.5. The total's massive. The team total for the Wizards is massive at 122. Westbrook is just back to being high floor Russ that we're used to, and just every single night blowouts. If they get blown out, it doesn't matter. His floor is kind of stabilizing around 60 fantasy points, and we know he has the massive, massive upside as well. In this matchup, he should absolutely have his way. I love Russ tonight. I like Beal too. The price tag 9.2 on DK on FanDuel. What is he on FanDuel? Like 8.5, right?
Yep.
8.5, really good price tag for him at 8.5. Then on the Thunder side, I mean, they're without Lou Dort, but they still have the bodies. The prices actually aren't all that good on these Thunder guys. I'll be off the Thunder. I mean, they're priced in that same range as the Pistons. They're priced in the same range as some of these Heat guys that we want to consider. Just much prefer those other spots to this one. So, I mean, for me, the plays are Russ, the plays are Beal. And that's about it for me. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Beal's a better play on FanDuel, where Russ is a better play on DraftKings due to the pricing, due to the position eligibility. If you want to go in tournaments and you play the opposite one on each site, you'll get them at a lot lower ownership. Westbrook on FanDuel will probably be sub 10%, about 10% in tournaments, where DraftKings is going to be a lot higher, vice versa with Bradley Beal on DraftKings too. So that's an easy way to still play a good play, but get lower ownership just because of the different pricing in the sites. Outside of that, there's no reason to play into these other guys on the slate.
Yeah, I fully agree. We're on the same page. Josh Bowler says, Big T pulling the mountainside workbench session. I wouldn't put it past him. I really would not put it past him. I mean, that kind of makes more sense now. I mean, I don't know if I'm buying Big T getting stuck in the mountains.
Well, I did see in chat, he just said not too long ago, he goes, I got the plays. I'm checked in now and ready to roll at new locations. So I think he might be on the countdown show with JSU and Holden. So make sure to check him out. It looks like he's got the plays and the winners. He's safe now.
I'm disappointed that we're not going to see the new location. I mean, the grandma's office, you know, we broke it here first. Breaking news, Big T's in grandma's office. It's sad that we're not going to get the benefit of breaking this new location, because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tune in and see what he's working with today.
Yeah, definitely. Another reason to check out that Up to Lock show. Even if you don't want the NBA news, you can find out where Big T is landed. Very important. All right, a couple more games here. We got where did it go? All right, we got the Grizzlies. We have the Nuggets, 226.5 total. Nuggets favored by 7.5 here. And another spot where the news is going to be very important. We know on the Memphis side, no Valanciunas, which is big because he's been playing phenomenally well. I mean, really, really well lately. Dylan Brooks, questionable. Brandon Clark, questionable. DeAnthony Melton, questionable. Justice Winslow, questionable. And Jaren Jackson, doubtful. He's not going to play. You know, if all those guys are out, specifically Brandon Clark, Xavier Tillman is 3.4K. He would start. He would be a very, very good play on DraftKings. If Clark is in, I think he's a good play as well. This game, though, is 9 p.m. Eastern. Probably not going to have the news. It really makes the situation pretty complicated. On the Nuggets side, Jokic, I mean, what can you say about him? Just a phenomenal play here. Obviously gets the boost with Jamal Murray out. Michael Porter Jr. continues to play solid basketball. The price is up, though. He's 7.7K. You know, if you're going to play him or DeRozan at small forward on DK, I'd probably lean DeRozan. I don't think the ceiling is as high for Porter. I think DeRozan can go out there and get you 50. I feel like Porter can go out there and get you 40, which obviously 50 is greater than 40. I don't know if you're aware of that. So I'd lean DeMar DeRozan. But we really need the news here on the Grizzlies side. I think I'm going to kind of say the same thing that we've been saying. I'm going to play the no one value in the early games. And, you know, if I have a spot here for these Grizzlies guys, good, fine, I'll play them. If not, I'm not going to kill myself. Love Jokic. And like I said, I think Porter is in play as well. What are your thoughts here on this game?
Yeah, I mean, another spot with a lot of injury news. The safest thing we do know is Xavier Tillman, though, which is why he's my favorite play. Even if Brandon Clark plays, Joe Val's out. We get 3.4K for Tillman on DraftKings, and he has the dual position eligibility at power forward and center, which is you want to play him at power forward, obviously. That's really big. 3.5K on FanDuel, power forward eligible. Brandon Clark's 4.1K on FanDuel. These two are the best value plays for sure at power forward on FanDuel. And I mean, if you want to be really safe and you like Brandon Clark more than Tillman if he plays, which I do, I think Brandon Clark's a very good play if he does play. He's athletic body, no Joe Val. You can just play or have the salary 4,100 for Clark, leave the 600 or make an upgrade somewhere else if worse comes to worse and Clark's in. We talk about all the time. I mean, on a slate like today too, with so much value, don't be afraid. If you leave 600 just because you want Clark and drop to Tillman, it's not the end of the world. Tillman's going to be even a better play if Clark does miss. So I like these front court bodies on Memphis. Going to have to wait for the news, though. Outside of that, I'm not worrying about any of the guards or anything for Memphis. Kyle Anderson would get a boost if Clark's out. 6,200 power forward, though. On this slate, that doesn't really sound appealing to me. He's shown upside, so he'll be low owned. You can do it if you want. This slate's too loaded. I'm probably not going to go there. And then on the Denver side, Jokic, of course, great play on both sides. I don't know who's going to stop him today. I don't think anybody. Game stays close. He'll get there for sure. And then I like Michael Porter Jr. a lot too. I prefer him on FanDuel because small forward isn't very good. Jimmy Butler's questionable. If he's ruled out, it even gets worse. 7,600. If this game stays close, he has tons of upside. Playing really good basketball without Jamal Murray. And if you want value, it's like Campazzo, PJ Dozier, all that. But point guard eligible, I like the other spots better. That's why I didn't mention it. If people are going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem. The guard spots are absolutely loaded, which we've talked about all throughout the show. Just got news in the chat from our boy Steve Anthony. Draft Cheats cores are up in MLB. Draft Cheats cores have been on absolute fire. I mean, just absolute fire. He's been nailing pitching every day, nailing the hitting. Another reason to head on over to runpuresports.com. We have that new promo going, RPS Heater 25% off. Your first payment at Run Pure Sports when you choose a monthly package includes everything on the site, every single sport, even the dude DC's fighting with yesterday on Twitter. They're battling back and forth. This guy says he's going to give a discount for all the services on his website. This sport's going to be X amount of dollars. This sport's going to be one thing. This sport's going to be another. Boom, 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 boom. Not at Run Pure Sports. One price, everything on the site. No upcharges when new sports start. Another reason to head on over to Run Pure Sports. Check us out. Last game on the slate. And unfortunately for you guys, and I mean, fortunately for us, it's not going to take long to get through this because it's the Jazz, it's the Lakers. Unless something changes drastically on this slate, I think this might be the worst possible spot to select fantasy players from. Would you agree with that statement or disagree?
Oh, agree for sure. There's no point of wasting our time on this game.
Let's see if we got news. I can't stand that when the news comes through for tomorrow's slate. We want the news for tonight's slate. We're waiting on a lot of news. Give us that news. We don't need the stuff for tomorrow. We'll figure that out tomorrow, not today. But yeah, there's a ton of news, and we still obviously do not have it. Do us a favor, though, guys. Okay, here, finally got a little bit. Kemba Walker ruled out. Let's see if there's anything on. And Marcus Smart's likely to play. That's good. So I don't think we really need to adjust anything there, right?
Yep. I don't need. I mean, we just broke down 30 injuries in the NBA. You don't need to attack the Celtics with Smart, Brown, Tatum, fully priced.
Yeah. All right. So that's one piece of news. Not important though. We need the important stuff. We need the 76ers we're waiting on. We need the Steph Curry news. We need the Miami situation. Pacers. There's a lot to come.
Memphis.
Still. Memphis. Yes. It's going to be a busy ride here up to lock. So head on over to Run Pure Sports, JSU, Holden, and maybe Big T. So Big T might be on there. All right, let's get in. Yeah, make sure you hit the like button. We got about 600 people, 230 likes. If we get that number up there, we'll go ahead and give away a piece of gear. I don't have much time though, so hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Helps us to continue to bring these videos. All right, let's get into the plays of the day. We're gonna go to TitleTown first with the SO play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Man, this is a tough one for sure because there's so many obvious plays. I'm not gonna give I can't make a case for a 1%er.
No.
Today. I'm gonna go with someone that has hidden upside with news as well at a position that's loaded. It's a pay up since we have all the value, but I'm gonna go Joel Embiid, 10.7K on DraftKings. I think if people pay up, it's gonna be Jokic. The center's so loaded. Nobody on this Warriors team. Looney is not stopping Embiid today. I don't know who is. If Simmons is out, Tobias is out, he even gets a bigger boost. Maybe we don't get that news in time too, which will keep his ownership down. I just don't see anyone stopping Joel Embiid today. We have the money. Give me him as a spend up in tournaments as the SO play of the day.
Absolutely love it, man. I'm really struggling. I'm not gonna lie because it's hard to go like too far off the reservation. Embiid was definitely in consideration for me because I know like Westbrook and Jokic will have much higher ownership. Let's see. Ben Simmons and Dwight Howard still questionable, so that doesn't help us at all.
That's the worst. That's the worst too. Like what did that change for us?
Nothing.
But Tobias unlikely to play. I didn't see that. Now I
didn't see that. Where did that come from? Really?
That's even a little below. Seth Curry likely to play. Tobias unlikely. That makes me
so like I didn't see those. That's good for that's very good for Embiid.
And I wasn't cheating. I actually did not see that, chat. So hey, well, yeah, I mean that's even a bigger boost. And if Simmons does play, he becomes a very good play, even a better one on FanDuel because his price is so low at point guard.
Yep. All right. Gosh. All right. I'm gonna go. If you want to veto this, you feel free to.
No, there's no vetoing. I mean, this is the day. Maybe you don't take there's so much value. I'm not gonna be Big T and
all right. Well, if it's unless
it's Westbrook,
you have it's not Westbrook. You have the sole veto power if this is not acceptable. But the 4X play of the day is going to be Frank Jackson for the Pistons. I don't think he'll be like super. He's going to be owned. Don't get me wrong. He's not going to be like super owned. But when you look at this Pistons roster and the guys out there, this guy can get buckets. He can go out there and score. I really like him tonight to have a big game. 3.2K. He will be owned. It's not a 1%er. It's not a 5%er. He's going to be up there. But there's a lot of good cheap plays tonight. Maybe he goes a little overlooked. So official 4X play of the day is going to be Mr. Frank Jackson tonight.
I like it.
All right. Well, there's only two of us, so we were able to move through rather quickly. Like I said, JSU, Holden, maybe Big T on the Up to Lock show. So make sure you head on over there and check that out. Still waiting on a ton of news, and we have a little more than an hour before lock, so it's going to be a very crucial hour here in terms of the news and what comes through. So if you haven't done so already, head on over to Run Pure Sports, become a member. We have you covered in the Discord. We have it covered with our plays, our content. That promo code is RPS Heater 25% off your first payment on a monthly package. But we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. For TitleTown, I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest. We'll be back tomorrow.
Good luck, everybody.